What's up guys, Evan LeRoy back here with another giveaway video. But first we're gonna do something else. A few years ago we had a video on this channel called Food Cost 101 where in our commissary during the middle of COVID I detailed in terrible handwriting on a whiteboard how we calculate our food costs. And in that video I also said that in the coming weeks we would be doing an updated version of that where we also teach people how we collect inventory and kind of talk about that and how important it is. And we hadn't really found a place for that information or that video, and then all of our processes kind of kept updating and kept changing, so I didn't want to put something out there that was then not updated or not even like fully ready or even good for any business to do. So now we're going to do that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we collect inventory here, how important it is, and then what we do with that information. So inventory is super important to us. It is all the things that are still on the shelf after the week is done, right? We go in there on Monday, we count everything, and then that gives us a number of how much money we have just sitting on the shelf. And we calculate our food costs based off of what we purchase, what we've sold, and then we compare that to what's still sitting on the shelf. And then that is our food cost percentage. Also, counting everything, putting hands on it, putting eyes on it helps us make sure that we're going through all of our inventory, make sure that we are not leaving anything in the back of the cooler, in the back of dry storage that's just gonna like grow something fuzzy. And it just kind of makes sure that we're updating and FIFOing everything. So we normally carry over around the same amount of inventory in numbers each week. Things like flour or seasonings or like meat that we ordered like late in the week to be cooked in the beginning of next week. And if that number stays pretty much the same, then we know we're kind of in a period of steady business. And if that number changes at all, like if it goes up, then we know that we're probably going into a slower season, right? If we keep our purchasing the same and if sales stay the same, then our inventory at the end of the week should stay the same. But if our purchasing stays the same and if our sales go down, well then our inventory is going to go up. And so that's an indicator that things are slowing down. Maybe we're going from the spring to the summer or from the fall to the winter. And then the opposite is also true. If we are moving from the summer right now into a busy season, the fall, and we don't have any inventory at the end of the week or a very small amount, we know that we're going to have to bump up our purchasing the next week in order to account for the massive amount of sales that are coming in the next few weeks and months. Now I'm just going to generally talk about some tips for taking inventory and how we do it. So first of all, we need to assign every single thing that we have on the shelf a value, and most of the time that is just the unit that we bought it in. If a gallon of milk costs $4, then the unit is a gallon and the value is $4. But if it is a like quart of guacamole, then we need to figure out how much like the 10 avocados and the little bit of garlic and the lime juice and the zest and all that. We need to figure out costs and units for all that stuff, and then also get a total unit cost for that single quart of guacamole, so we can easily look in the refrigerator and say there's 1 quart of guacamole here, it costs this much, and then write it down on the inventory sheet. The complication comes in where you purchase things based on weight and then or count and then have to convert it to weight. And so Matthew Bromley did so much organization in the commissary days, probably from as soon as he came on until we moved out of the commissary and started using Toast, which is what we use now. He made this entire enormous spreadsheet that's basically converts all of the poundage weights of our meats into grams and then converts those into the recipes, and the recipes are linked to the inventory, and it's just this wild interconnected web of documents that I don't even understand. So luckily now we are able to be in a larger restaurant. We're able to use better technology. We can use Toast, which already has this stuff built into the back end. Toast is our POS system. We do our payroll through it. We do every single thing through it here as far as like electronic giving and exchanging and taking of money goes. It's really helpful because we can scan in all of our invoices and they'll be directly uploaded to Toast. The software can like read the invoice and directly put it in there already, so it already takes some of the inventory, like the starting inventory. So we have to take the ending inventory, we'll pull up our Toast on our little Extra Chef app and then go into the walk-in and then just count every single thing. But we also have to be efficient on how we count those things. So the basic main rule of doing inventory is that everything has to be able to easily be seen, counted, and grabbed. That's the main rule of kitchen organization for me. If you can't see it, count it, and grab it, then it's not organized. If it doesn't have a label on it, if it doesn't have a date on it, then it's not organized. So when we're talking about inventory, come on in here with me, I'll show you what we're talking about. If we're thinking about organization and how we're going to count all of this stuff, then we're essentially going to start like on one side. Say this is like shelf A, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That way on the inventory sheet, it'll say shelf 1, and it'll say A, B, C, D, or whatever. As long as it's organized, it doesn't matter. And as long as it just goes from one side to the other, so you can just like take inventory in the space itself and not necessarily just of the things each single time. But also you just gotta make sure everything is easy to see, grab, and count. So for example, like I can tell that there's, you know, thing of potatoes here. I can't really see and count whatever's in the back there. So that's an issue. I know that these cases of milk and buttermilk have a certain amount in them. So when we're doing inventory, it's like 1 case plus 3 gallons, and then that's gonna tell us exactly how much of everything. As far as we're going with meat, if we're discussing counting meat and inventorying meat, we have like a specific average on a lot of the meats that we get in, on briskets, on flat irons, on all that stuff. So we can just count how many we have, and then we can average that and then see how it compares with the actual invoice that came in. Back here in the dry storage area is where a lot of our inventory does get carried over. Bulk things like, you know, milk powder, pepper, sugar, and all that stuff. Right now it's the end of the week, so we're getting in a lot of items for early next week. So we got a big bunch of onions for next week. We got all of our flours and cornmeals and everything for next week. We got all the Fritos in the world. This is a lot of stuff that we are carrying over when I'm talking about inventory on the shelf on Monday. Now that's just a rough kind of overview of how we do inventory here. If you have any questions about any of that, please drop them in the comments below. And now it's time to get into the giveaway. Check out this new hat. It's kind of a cowboy hat, right? It's got a cowboy on it. This new cowboy hat here. Little nice little dad hat. Great for summer, great for fall activities. Anything you're looking to get into to keep the sun out of your face. Just a fantastic design, classic dad hat. And it's going to Adam Dispenza. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for being a Patreon supporter for so long. Thank you for coming to our class. Thank you for being just like a regular at the restaurant all the time. We love you. Keep doing what you do. Thanks for everything, buddy. Remember, the only way to be entered into these giveaways is to be a Patreon supporter on the Pitmaster tier. Sign up to Patreon, to the Pitmaster tier. It's $30 a month. You're going to be entered into weekly giveaways. You're going to get the first drop of LeRoy and Lewis videos, and you could potentially win a military green cowboy dad hat. I'll see you next week, guys.